Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video. Based on recommendations, today is a guide/mod showcase to transform your Whiterun into a completely new experience. This might not be for everyone, but it is requested by a lot of people, so let's dive right in. And also don't forget to endorse mod authors if you end up downloading these. The first mod of course has to be the textures, and for that I use Tomato's Whiterun Parallax. This overhauls every aspect of Whiterun. Some texture overhauls kind of forget Whiterun walls and just retextures the city alone, sometimes even forgetting interior textures. But this one retextures every little part and gives it a new rustic but also modern texture, I guess just to show its wear and tear over the years, as well as adding parallax on these new textures, making them appear 3D as you get closer. It kind of takes a completely new approach to Whiterun, honestly. Rather than making it look like a slow-built town with farmers coming in and getting rich, now it resembles a city that was once great and has withered down over time to give it a new experience. So no more smooth textures. I'm not going to openly say that this retexture is better than every texture for Whiterun on Nexus, but as of yet of me using this mod over time, it's grown on me and I don't think I could find any other retexture that I like as much as this one. But of course, this is just the first mod. We got a lot more to change before this is over. Like the next mod that we're changing immediately is the road for Whiterun with the mod Parallax Earth Floor Whiterun. This is a mod that I had showcased previously in my mod list or just a playthrough, and people were very curious about it. It was underrated at one point, but over time of me showcasing it, a lot more people found it and started downloading it. This replaces Whiterun's road. As you can see, in certain areas, not every part of it has been replaced, but now it removes every single road tile to make it seem like it's an earth floor with dirt and rocks all over the floor. Someone did say with the road like that, you might break your ankle with the road. Up next, a replacer for the Gildergreen in Whiterun. This mod is called G.I.R.T.H total, but its Gildergreen is really thick HD. That was on purpose, but it replaces the Gildergreen from a 2D pretty ugly dead tree to a new 3D model. And besides just replacing the dead variant, there's also a new lively variant once you restore the Gildergreen. Originally, the petals are going to be pink when you first install the mod, which is the author's preferred look. But with the add-on for this mod, you can turn the tree green, as well as remove the new moss shader from the tree, just leaving its brown bark and new green leaves. But you will still have to complete the quest to get the new lively variant, otherwise you'll just have the dead version. And now we're going to retexture another part of Whiterun, but this mod is called Glorious Doors of Skyrim by Hype 1. This replaces every single door type in Skyrim and gives them new appearances with also new custom cube maps placed on the doors to make them reflect. Of course, it probably should be a lot darker considering that was in the shadow, but it does give them nice cube maps overall. Though I would say this mod is optional because Tomato does a wonderful job on retexturing the doors if you want a completed matching look. But if you want doors that overhaul every single part of Skyrim, not just including Whiterun, then I would say add this on top of everything else, just so you can have diverse doors with wonderful 3D meshes. And the file size does come with 4K options and 2K options, and then you can also choose not to have a certain door type installed. But honestly, I recommend 2K resolution for the smaller doors, but then when you get to the bigger doors, like the main gate or the Dragonsreach door, I highly recommend 4K textures because these kind of do stretch a lot considering how much detail is placed on the doors. Another simple add-on that I believe adds a lot more life to Whiterun, we have the IV Whiterun well. This one kind of became popular, a lot of more people started using it, but it overhauls the small well in the middle of the Whiterun market. It has new lanterns and food around it, and it's also nav meshed by NPCs, so even though it adds a new foundation around it, NPCs can walk around it and also sit on it. And another mod I recommend combining with this one I've showcased quite a few times, but this mod is called Lush Dragonsreach Pools. This is probably the newest mod on this list, but it overhauls the Dragonsreach Pools, adding new flora and a lot more ivy to the walls as you walk up the Dragonsreach stairs. There is also two versions for this mod. The most basic will keep the pool at vanilla depth, just adding flora to it to just add a bit more life maybe. But the one I recommend is the deep version, which will overhaul the stairs leading into the pools so you can get out just as easy as you went in, and also adding a few items inside the pool just to fill in those new areas. This is one of those mods that I mentioned in the beginning would be kind of optional, but we're going for a lively Whiterun considering my tundra is green. I will be making a yellow version, but for now, this is my go-to. And adding even more floor on top of it, we have Witcherun, a Verdant Whiterun Overhaul. There was a mod that came to Nexus adding a bunch of flowers and plants from Witcher into Skyrim as a modder's resource, free for everyone to use. And this mod makes full use of all of them, adding hand-placed 3D bushes and flowers and even hedges along the walkways of Whiterun, just enough to make it look overgrown, but not enough that I feel claustrophobic when I'm walking down the street. I feel like this mod works perfect with the Whiterun Parallax Earth Road, but of course you could use it with any other retexture with tile floor. I just like the idea of an earth floor going with the flowers to make it easier to plant things. It also does add ivy to the buildings and also the Gildergreen circle, but we have another mod that will be adding on top of this that might be a bit of overkill, but I enjoy it. But first we're going to be doing something questionable, and we're going to be combining this with JK Skyrim. As you can see, there is a little bit of clipping when you first install this mod, but that's because if you go in Witcherun's optional files, it has a patch collection, and it has a patch for JK Skyrim, so there should be no clipping, and everything will be nav meshed. And by the name, you can already tell JK Skyrim doesn't just overhaul Whiterun, it overhauls all major cities around Skyrim, adding new NPCs and new homes for those NPCs, as well as tons of clutter that might drop your FPS, so you might want to be careful if you decide to download this. But the main reason that I use this mod is because of those new NPCs and the new items added for those NPCs, so Skyrim doesn't feel so lifeless. I mean, it's still a game made by Bethesda, there still will be some jankiness to it, but this does add a lot more clutter. I threw this one in kind of last second, but this mod retextures the shields all around Skyrim, mainly in Whiterun. This mod is called Half Faces Whiterun Shields. It replaces those wooden ugly shields that is on pretty much every surface around Whiterun for whatever reason, even the exterior, with new 3D meshes that resemble a real steel shield. And if you use a mod that replaces vanilla armors, this mod pretty much goes perfect with those replacers. But honestly, I wouldn't say that it's needed. And just a quick detour to the exterior of Skyrim with just one mod. This mod is called JK's Whiterun Outskirts. This mod completely overhauls the exterior of Skyrim, well, mainly just Whiterun. This, in my opinion, truly turns Whiterun into the trade capital of Skyrim that's pretty much only in lore, adding dozens of new locations for you to explore, and tons of clutter and new farm animals to fill those new locations. Like if you use Sky.Test, you'll also get to see those animals placed. So if you were already short on FPS, this might not be the mod for you, but I felt like this one fit my Whiterun ideal perfectly. And that's mainly due to the fact that I never overhaul the walls of Whiterun, because most overhauls completely repair the walls and it ruins all dialogue about ruined walls and dragons being too strong for them. So this is the perfect alternative, by making the ideology of a dragon attacking and destroying things much more real, considering there's so much life outside of the walls now. Every NPC has new dialogue for you to go through, they aren't just lifeless, and you can experience new things every playthrough. Every new building also has interiors that does come with lux patches if you need it, because JK mods are highly supported by pretty much every single mod author. The only thing that I didn't get that I do recommend, but I won't link it in this video because then I have to make a whole nother minute recommendation, is Blubbo's apple tree overhaul. He has a patch that lets you overhaul JK's apple trees, and he has the apple trees to pretty much every single exterior mod overhaul, so I highly recommend that mod. I will link it down in the description. But while we're on the topic of interiors, I figured I'd recommend JK's Interiors of Eeks Whiterun, which is something you probably never heard of. This takes JK's widely known and used overhauls for the interiors and combines them with Eeks' lesser known Whiterun overhaul, giving the 4 major shops around Skyrim major overhauls by combining the two, and both of them are massive, so you'll see massive changes. The only shop that wasn't overhauled by this mod was the Drunken Huntsman, unfortunately, but at least JK did overhaul that one alone. And quick note about this mod, this is a patch collection. It's not a completely separate mod, so you'll need both of the other mods installed to make this work. And it has to be an all-in-one version of Eeks Whiterun Interiors. You can't pick any other standalone version because they are more outdated than the all-in-one, and the patches for the combination won't work. But who knows, maybe that will change by the time this video releases. And to be honest, I mainly use this combination for the Bannered Mare overhaul, but I have to say the extra additions to every other shop is definitely amazing, especially considering the fact that not many people know about this yet. but by the time I release this video, I'm sure a lot more people will download it if you can handle it. Because while these are interiors, it adds hundreds of new clutter items that you can't interact with, and also items that you can't interact with that can cause your draw cost to jump up to about 25,000, which is a lot for people on lower end PCs. But if you can handle it, I definitely recommend giving this a try for a new look on Skyrim. And the final mod that I use to tie everything together that not many people know about is the mod City Trees. This mod has been getting a lot more popular lately, and it also has tons of patches for pretty much everything because it gets constantly updated. But this mod, as you can see, adds new trees around Whiterun, as well as every other city in Skyrim, as long as you choose it, even the smaller towns. City Trees, when you first install it, has a huge installation guide that you pretty much pick and choose everything that you want and don't want. Besides just adding a bunch of trees to Skyrim, it also adds clutter, but that's by your choice. And it also adds Witcher plants as well. Like I mentioned, it was a huge modders free resource that everyone decided to use, but we already use Witcherun, so we don't use that, we just use the tree. It won't use its own tree models, it will use whatever trees you have installed in your game, which generally just resolve around using the pine trees, no other diversity. But if you have something like Nature of the Wildlands or maybe Oven Mold, then you can use diverse tree models like I'm using here. Generally I stick to just pine trees, but I decided to give it a go for this video. And that was pretty much it. That's how I created my Skyrim. Let me know if you tried down below, or maybe you just end up grabbing a few mods. But as of right now, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.